Yo, we're filming today from the Commons in Melbourne. We've had an amazing opportunity to interview some of the local creatives down here. Today's episode is with Miss Emily Osmond. It will not take you long to realise why this is one of my favourite interviews that we've done to date. I want to thank Emily for her honesty and openness right from the start. So, let's get into it. Welcome to Dismantle. I'm pumped for this because a number of reasons. But I think first, let's maybe talk about what you're doing right now and go from there.
Awesome. Well, right now, you know that last week I launched my own podcast.
I do
so
know
that was pretty exciting. But right now I'm kind of all in on my online program. So teaching lots of small business owners how to build their own business with social media and Instagram. And I was saying to you just before, I've had my business for 4 years, and the first 3 years was offering services and project work to clients. And then I got to a stage when I was just like, this isn't really fulfilling me. And I know that there's something more and bigger that I can do and work with more people. And I kind of went as well from being a very generalist, offering branding, websites, I did copywriting and all this type of thing, social media strategy as well. I'm like, I've got to actually be known for something and go all in on something too. And so I realized that the thing that I loved and the thing that people kept asking me the most for was social media. I went all in on teaching Instagram and developed an online program, which is a membership. So that's kind of where I spend all my time now, and I absolutely love it because I get to do the work that I love the most, which is teaching and supporting and giving feedback and trying to encourage other people to be a bit braver online and do video and all that type of thing. That's what I'm doing.
I really love that. More the point that I've seen like heaps of social media managers, whether that is a service-based business or individuals that will teach you how to grow. But it actually seems like you give a shit about the people. And I'm so glad you talked about impact and helping more people. Because I think that for people that feel like they can help, it's almost like an obligation to a little bit, right?
In a way, yeah.
Why are you doing this?
I think, like, if we go deeper into why, I know that when, like, underneath it all, I think it comes from when I was growing up and when I was at school and through a lot of my teens. I guess I didn't feel great and I wasn't very happy. And for me, I guess like my whole, like what I do feel that obligation and I really, really want to help people is to feel like they matter and that they are valued. Wow. And so I think for me actually being able to help and they're majority women, but I have a couple of guys too.
Yeah.
But to help them actually realize that they can do this with their business and they can just be themselves online, and that's what people are going to connect with, and that they don't have to be perfect. And I say always to them, like, connection over
perfection.
Hey, that's mine. But just like put yourselves out there. And then when I get to see them, like we're doing a video challenge this week. So for them, they have to go on video. For some of them, it's the first ever time they've done it. Awesome. And if they've already done it a few times, I say like, you've got to do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live. And so they come into the group and they're just like,
because that fear holds them back.
I know.
Right?
And it's fear of what other people are going to think, what they're going to look like. They're going to get judged. So
do you feel like you weren't valued or mattered when you were growing up, when you said you had a hard time?
Yeah, to a degree. And I definitely felt like I just didn't fit in as well.
Yeah.
I grew up in England and then I moved to Australia when I was 13. And so first of all, I couldn't understand anyone just because of the accent.
Wow.
And just the slang.
Yeah.
Like the avo and the togs and whatever else.
And they probably couldn't understand you real well.
Yeah. And I left my group of really close girlfriends and moved to Australia. And I thought that I was going to be living on like home and away and we were going to go surfing and it would be sunny. And then we moved to Ballarat.
Which is a lot different to that.
Just very cold. And it's a lovely place. But I went from myself and my two sisters, we got driven to school that first day of school. And I was the most excited and positive and like, this is going to be awesome, to that day ending up in sick bay in tears, just realizing this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And I had like a buddy, and then they went off with their friends, so I'm kind of alone. And I just felt very alone. And I spent actually it was in year 8, a lot of year 8 in sick bay, just crying.
Damn. Well, it's a pretty formative couple of years, right? For anybody, let alone women.
Yeah.
Is that something that's sort of ever carried over? Like, are you kind of afraid of that loneliness? Does it creep in sometimes?
Probably a little bit. I don't know. I think over time what I've got better at doing is opening up and talking, because for about 10 years I wasn't really in a good place. And so my relationships that I had and the friendships I had only ever went so deep because I would pull back. And I didn't really know how to express how I was feeling because I was 13 through to about 23. And it got to the point when I realized like I can't keep kind of living like this and like suppressing everything. And it got to a stage where, I just wasn't coping. Damn. And so I moved back home. I was living in Melbourne and I was like, I can't keep living like this. Like it's very, I don't know, you can't get through the days. So I moved back with my mum.
Because I imagine for like that stretch, it's not just like an overnight thing. There'd be like, you're functioning and I imagine other people would just
no one
realize
knew
that you were fine.
Yeah.
Or just assume you were fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I used to get called Smiley because like...
I have no idea why.
Well, because I guess at school I just felt like I had to smile. And also like going on at that time, so we'd been in Australia for 3 months and my dad was English. And so he had a business in England, which is really cool. So I think I get that from him. Cool. But he had his own business. He was like such an Englishman, just very deep-rooted English person in a way, and grown up in Oxford, always lived in Oxford. And anyway, my mum and him decided, let's move to Australia, move back to mum's hometown, set us 3 girls up here and kind of like let us go through school here just for the lifestyle and that type of thing and to be with her family. Yeah. But so we moved in the January and he just spiraled into depression from January through to April. And then, he killed himself in April. So like we just started the new school. I didn't have any friends. And I think like something that happened to us that I just don't advise for other people, I guess, having been there, is that we had the advice from like the school and that type of thing just to go straight back to school. Yeah. So we were back there like a day or two later. And so I think that forced us almost to not deal with it. Yeah, you did have to suppress it. I just suppressed it. Put on a smile, right? No. And so my friends kind of were doing the best they could to support us, but I guess no one really wanted to talk about it. Yeah. Plus, who knows how to actually deal with that? Like, there's no rules around that. No one kind of... So and then I went through the stage when I just couldn't get out of bed, and I was just like, let's just stay in bed and not go to school because I just don't really know. I don't know. I just feel shocking. Like I feel like I'm living in a nightmare was what it was like. So how did you kind of dig your way out of that, I guess? So I went through year 8, 9, 10, 11, halfway through 11. And then I've realized that the way that I tried to cope was to start again. So I was like, Mum, I'm moving schools halfway through my BCE. And I just wanted to run away and go somewhere no one knew me, is what I felt like. Because I felt like everyone knows me as the girl that... They didn't know you, right? Whose dad died. Yeah, and my dad taught at the school for a month or so before he died. So everyone kind of knew of him and then knew of us and no one talked about it. And I just didn't want to be that person that everyone just felt sympathetic of. Yeah, it's a pity. So, and I just wasn't happy. And I just felt like I had these friends in England that I was so close with, these girls. And I was just trying to find that again. Yeah. And even though now looking back, the girlfriends I made at my first school in Australia are some like my best friends now. But at the time, I was just still trying to find where I fitted in because I just didn't feel like I fitted in. So yeah, I moved schools, and that was to another school in Ballarat, and that was a year and a half there, finished my VCE, but I got quite badly bullied. So I think that...
I've got to make an observation. Every time you say something really dark and painful, you laugh about it.
That's
Which I think is, I don't know whether it's a coping thing.
That's not a good thing, is it? Yeah.
Well, unless you kind of look at it as a life lesson, like.
Well, yeah, I do, because like moving to that school, and I don't know, that you ask kind of where I got that thing where I want other people to know that they matter and that they are valued, that it got exacerbated during that time too, because I was super shy and I had an English accent and I came from the public school to the private school, and so I got kind of picked on for being posh.
You're an easy target, right?
I was quite an easy target, and I had like food thrown at me, just like banana pieces to stick all over me, and our house got egged, and it wasn't great. I don't know, I kind of know deep down that when I started out in like the workforce and then I went out on my own in my business, I think like deep down I kind of just wanted to show people too, like, I don't know, you can do what you want to me, but I'm still going to go for it. So I don't know.
That's awesome. It sounded like you had a lot of stuff dumped on you, you know, and to still have that fire that's like, I'm still going to do what I want.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of that comes with, you know, you didn't feel like you belonged somewhere, then to say like, I'm going to do what I want anyway, it feels like there was a self-awareness shift in there, I think a little bit. Did you kind of connect with who you were a little bit more?
That's true. And I think I got to the point where I actually liked myself. And I was
That's
like, actually, like, you're okay, you're a nice person, I like myself.
Yeah.
And I think when you get to that stage, you just don't care so much what other people think, because you know that people aren't going to like you whatever you do. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You can be the best person ever, but people aren't going to like you. So I think when you can get to that point, it makes it easier to put yourself out there, because you're just like, well, some people are going to like me, some people aren't, no matter what I do, so I may as well just be myself.
Yeah. I imagine those relationships changed too once you started liking yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're open to being liked by other people.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm in a great relationship now. And yeah, my friendships, like with those girls at my first school in Australia, when I could open up to them and tell them that I had been struggling and what that was like. And even today, like when I share a few things, they're just like, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, of course you didn't, because I didn't tell you. Like, I kept this completely separate to anyone else, and I would retreat and try and deal with it and then go out and be happy and smiley, because I just felt, I don't know, like I kind of probably thought no one else deals with this. I'm weird. No one can know, like, what is this?
Everybody else seems normal. You were just trying to figure it out.
Totally.
So looking back, I mean, would you say that if someone is dealing with that, like, is that the first thing, to kind of talk about it, be more open, as scary as and as hard as I imagine it would be?
Yeah, totally. Like, I think it's so important to know that it's not permanent. Yeah. And it will get better. And I still get not to great places, but it helps so much now when I'm like, you've come out the other side, because when you're in it, you actually think that it's not going to get better.
And you're always like this. And
you can't remember when you felt better. And so when I look at my dad, he was in that state where he got really bad and he thought it's not going to get better. But I'm like, if I had one chance to go back in time, like, I could have saved him.
Wow.
Because if you can tell someone that it is going to get better, then, I don't know, and just pull them out of it.
Because I think people do need help with that sometimes.
Yeah, because it's so hard to do that yourself. And so I was really lucky, I think, with my family, my mum and my sisters, that they checked in on me a lot. And I guess, I saw a counsellor, but what helped me was medication. So I was super resistant to it because I didn't want to have that in my history that I had been on antidepressants.
Yeah. It is super taboo, right, as well.
Yeah, and this is quite a few years ago now. And again, I hadn't talked to anyone about it. I didn't know anyone else that was on antidepressants.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, I just felt like I don't want that to be part of me. If I just resist taking them, then therefore I'm not actually depressed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But as soon as I started taking them, you can go worse before you get better. So that happened. But then I remember ringing one of my friends and I was just like, these are happy pills. I have never felt this good. I'm in the car and I'm just high on life. And for me, that's what works.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've, since I was 13, struggled to feel happy and to feel, to feel happy. And so that's what I found worked for me. And now that I talk to people about it and I'm like, wow, okay, most of my friends have been on them or are on them that have suffered from anxiety or depression. So they've been really, really good for me. But yeah, it's different for everyone, and maybe that's
absolutely different for everyone.
Not for everyone.
I think you have to figure out what your unique coping mechanisms are with that, right? And if you need help, whether that is counseling or talking or medication, do what's going to work for you so you can have that.
And I find for me, diet and exercise, if I go a few days, if I eat crappy and don't exercise, then it's that's what, science says as well. If we don't exercise, we can lose those endorphins or whatever. And that's totally true for me. So that's really key. But I think as well, it is really important if people know, and this is what their doctors will hopefully say, but I'm not sure if the doctor to my dad did tell us or tell him that when you first go on them, they will make you feel bad because he had just started taking medication. And so I think he was in that slump where it just feels hopeless. Yeah.
And I guess the whole family would have thought the same way.
Yeah, and I remember feeling like he was just a different person. And so he was around the house and I just remember feeling very awkward because and I was 13 and my sisters were 15 and 11. And it was only a few short weeks really. And so I think it just felt a bit awkward. None of us really knew what was happening. He'd been to the doctor and I don't know. I don't know if we knew. I didn't know kind of what was happening or how bad it was or anything like that. So, and he didn't have really a support network in Australia either, any friends or family. So, and I think that he thought I've made the wrong decision for my family. We need to move back to England and just panic stations. Yeah.
I can almost feel, again, not that I have any idea about how you guys or he wouldn't be feeling, but I'm a relatively new dad of a little two-year-old boy. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I could feel that sacrifice or that pressure of having to do what's right for the family, but not even be able to cope yourself.
Yeah.
Can be such a heavy toll.
Yeah. And it's just to get to that extreme where you think your son would be better without you than with you. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And so that's what I say to other people. It's so hard when you're at that place to see it. But I don't know if people can listen now, if they have anyone that gets that place or they get to it themselves, it's not better to take your life than it is to be there. There's just nothing better about it. Yeah.
Let's find a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because it does get better. Yeah. Yeah.
But then, I love how that now means that you're inspired to help other people and find, maybe not from that darker place, but even the other stuff around starting your own business or changing a life, whether that's leaving a job that you hate to take that leap into your own thing, or provide something more for your family rather than where you're at.
Definitely.
Like, how did you kind of find the first person you wanted to do that with?
Like way back, I don't know, there's so many twisty paths, as there always is. I studied politics and international studies because I was like, I'm going to get into politics and make change, or go into
purpose-driven as well.
Yeah, international aid, did work experience at World Vision. Anyway, through all that, started getting into media and journalism and kind of thought this is a great way to get into current affairs.
Yeah.
And then through that, did my master's in communications and got into the media space. And I was like, what? Does this work? This is fun. Like, compared to when I was doing the news and it was like every hour deadlines, I'm like, this is really anxious. But social media, it's the thing that I love is that you're working with people, I love working with those small business owners, and you can see the change that it makes for them when they get it right. Yeah. And it does change their life. Like, if they can they've created a business because they love what they do, hopefully. Like, they love that cafe that they've set up, or like whatever it is that they've created. And so to be able to help them, like, get more people in doors or to their business that love what they've created, which makes those people happy, and then help those business owners to have more success and have more profits doing what they love. Yeah, it's just the best. Because I think as well, like, I just see, like, it's just not worth being in a job that you do not get fulfilled by, and being in a job that you're kind of just counting down the days or the hours. It's just not worth it. Yeah. So
100%. I even feel like, and I love what we do, and I love what I do day to day, but even I feel like I'm running out of time to do things. Do
you mean in life?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah, in life, seriously.
I'm like, there's so much more to do right now.
That's exactly how I feel, and more lately. And I'm like, I can't imagine what that's like when you're somewhere you're stuck.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like there's a way out.
Yeah.
And you kind of have no guide on a path to get out of that, and feel like time's running out. So I think it's super important that...
I know, I just turned 30 last year, and I was like, that is almost half my life.
How long are you going to be saying I've just turned 30?
What's that?
How long are you going to be saying
that? Oh, shut up. Yeah, I know, I'm like, I'm almost 31 now.
Last year, 5 years ago.
Just stick with that for a few years. But it did make me realise, like, that's half my life till I'm 60. It kind of kicked me into gear a bit, being like, just, again, like, stop worrying what people think, because you're going to look back and wish that you just went for it.
Yeah,
I honestly think we're all going to look back and wish that we weren't so worried about what people would have thought. Just actually went for it.
And I think I find for me, that's a constant reminder thing as well. Like, you just can't just flick that switch and go, I don't care what people think anymore.
Yeah.
I can feel like I don't care what people think, and then go and pull out a camera to do a selfie video and go, who's going to listen to this, or who's going to see me doing this?
Yeah.
I think it is a constant thing. Then the other thing I love about the stuff I've seen of yours is it feels highly intelligent and purposeful in a way that you've really focused on a niche. Cool. Everything from the language and some obvious media training there.
No training, just trying.
Yeah.
Just trying.
Experimenting.
And doing it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you kind of like go towards that side of things, even just women particularly?
Yeah.
Or the small business?
Yeah.
Like, how did you kind of develop that? Was it very purposeful, or was it just like a reactive thing?
Well, actually, I realised I didn't answer a question earlier, which is how that first kind of client found me, or how. Okay. So that would kind of help to explain, I guess. I was working in the tourism body, managing the digital marketing, and I was writing a blog. So I write an interiors blog too, and I love interiors. Yeah. And someone found me through my blog. She was an interior designer, so she asked, could I help her with her blog and her marketing? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so got myself a website and all of that type of thing. And from there, that kind of did organically grow with local business owners asking for help. And I've worked with corporates and really big organizations. And there's some aspects of that I enjoy, but I don't know, I'm just very driven by what fulfills me.
Yeah.
And not saying that some of that work doesn't fulfill me, but a lot of it, if I just see that I'm kind of a cog in a machine helping someone make more money at the top, I don't get that driven by that.
So you like seeing a more personal, tangible change, right?
Definitely. And so I guess my clients started finding me, and I was putting myself out there on social media and marketing, and they were typically small business owners. And then I started running workshops. And again, I was like, just go put myself out there. This is scary.
Yeah.
Who am I to like get up in front of a room?
But did you get a buzz out of
I loved
doing that?
it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We did the exact same thing a few weeks ago. We
Yeah.
put our first workshop on, and same, terrified beforehand.
Oh my gosh, so
I'm like,
scared.
first, who am I to actually get up and say anything? And then, staying up there and being terrified about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then making that
And like
change.
you're trying to drink a glass of water. This is me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't even hold the glass. It's shaking.
Yeah, that's right. I'm glad I had no hair at this point. Otherwise, it would have all gone. But yeah, like once you kind of make that switch to I'm going to help people. It's not about me.
Yeah.
And it's about what I'm giving here.
Yeah.
And if I kind of help one person by doing this, it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I totally dug it too.
Yeah, it's so good. And I think like we can remember that we only have to be like a step or two ahead of other people to help them. Like we don't have to be at the end. None of us are at the end. We're all still learning. So if we can just be a step or two ahead.
Yeah.
But what I found was the people that came to the workshop was all women. I've run maybe like, I don't know, 30 workshops, and I've had like 2 guys. And I love those guys. But I was like, right, there's definitely something in this that women want to, well, first of all, they are, I think, a lot of them, I don't know the percentages, but I feel like maybe more women are starting a business, and a lot of the women that I work with have had kids and they haven't gone back into the workforce, and they get to the point kind of where they realize, do I want to go back to the job I was in, or do I want to start something and give it a go, doing something I actually enjoy and have always wanted to do?
Yeah.
So a lot of them are my clients, my students. And then also, again, this is kind of a generalization, but I feel like there's something in it, is that women potentially do feel more called to, I don't know, being part of a community and being guided and being coached a little bit. And maybe guys kind of seek that out in a different way.
Yeah.
But I find that for the students that I have in my program, that's what they get a lot out of, kind of having that feedback and that support and that encouragement and the community around them. So as soon as you can kind of realize, and this is for any creatives, I think as soon as you can realize who it is that you're attracting and that you love working with, and this is what I teach my students, like get super clear on what they look like with their demographics and then their psychographics, and figure out like what makes them tick, what their desires are, and then what their challenges are. And then you can turn all of that and the exact phrases that they use when they talk to you into your own marketing and your messages to attract more of them. So it kind of becomes, you're actually using the phrases that the people that you're going to love working with and love working with you actually use themselves. So when they read it, they're like, oh my gosh, Emily's reading my mind. So
I love that.
Because we can't, like we kind of said before, there's people not going to like us. And the same thing, we can't be for everyone. No. And so in terms of getting niched, picking what it is, figure out like if you could be the best in the world at something, what would it be? Like I honestly think that's the best place to start. Yeah. Because you can't be the best at 10 different things. If you can just be one thing, what are you going to go for? Get clear on that and then kind of go all in on it, even though you feel like an imposter.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love the kind of like, I'm big on energy, and I feel like you can almost vibrate a certain way, and then that will attract other people that vibrate in that similar sort of space.
And it's definitely, and it's funny because I've had people at my workshops kind of arrive and meet some other people and they're like, oh wow, like everyone here's really similar, Emily. And I'm like, yeah, no, like it's no like chance it's happened.
Yeah.
This is on purpose. Yeah.
I love it. I love the kind of, it's really interesting to me the psychology around the kind of male and female thing too. And I wonder if it's particularly the coachability and the looking for guides. Like I wonder how much guys feel like they just need to be confident and don't need any support.
I was thinking that too. Maybe it's that they feel like, they shouldn't, or they can't be like, hey, I would love to just get some feedback and
which is totally
get some help.
Wrong. Like I think there's nothing wrong with putting your hand up and saying, I want to keep learning and improving and like you said, being the best version of myself that we can be. I know it's a super rough tangent, but when you were talking about women who have sort of had kids and are trying to get back into finding something they love. I wonder, because I think my wife's going through a similar thing now. Phoenix, my little boy's too.
Such a cool name.
He's just, I'll take up an hour talking about him. But I think she's trying to look for something a little bit more as well, and something that strikes passion. And I wonder if it's because when she had him, it was such an emotional, purposeful thing. We'd been trying for a long time unsuccessfully. And there was this like feeling of value and purpose. And then you kind of realize that, okay, everything up until that point didn't have that same feel. So you start looking for something similar.
I don't have kids yet, but it makes sense what you say. And that's what parents say. I don't know, that when you have kids, it really does change things. And it puts things in perspective. And I guess as well for the women, I really struggle to say that word, but they are often the ones in a kind of typical partnership. There's one person that goes back to work, and then there's someone else that is more the stay at home, looks after the kids. And I guess maybe for that person, which is typically the female, that if they are going to go back to work or be away from their kids, they probably feel like it has to be worth it. Like I'm not going back to an office that I hate and sit in there and be away from my kids. It's just not worth it. So that's probably part of it too.
Moving on to the self-branding and Instagram and building that up on there. Particularly for creatives, I've noticed that a lot of the ones that I know and deal with are very much love being behind the lens. Love telling other people's stories. And a lot of the, particularly photographers or designers, artists I know, they have a pretty grid that's like a portfolio. And I'm a big believer in what you're preaching about. They got to get in front of it themselves and talk about a few things and make that human connection. What do you think is kind of stopping, I guess, creators in particular or anybody to turn that camera on themselves?
Several things. I think that they feel, first of all, no one's going to be interested. That's what I hear a lot. No one's going to be interested in hearing about me. They feel that sense of like self-doubt as well. Like I don't have anything good to say. There's nothing interesting here. I think that kind of stops them. But I can share kind of the way that I teach to help them get through that.
That'd be great.
So I think with artists, like I teach that when you are sharing content, no matter what platform, there's really 4 different like categories that you can share around. So there's value, then there's connection, credibility, and promotion. And artists just have value like down pat, because value is the person someone follows you. And so for artists, if you're photographers, designers, videographers, you already have that content that people love to see. And then I work with like accountants and lawyers. I'm like, we've really got to work on that. What's someone going to want to follow you for? And for my business, it's giving value in terms of tips and sharing insights and my thoughts on different topics.
Yeah.
But for artists, if you are in the visual field, like that is the value that you can bring. It's like an escape for people to be able to see that content.
Yeah.
So you've got that covered.
Exactly.
Entertainment. And so that's covered. So then the next one is connection. And I really think that you cannot build connection with your audience if you don't show up in your feed and in your marketing. Like we just can't connect with you if we don't see you.
Yeah.
So connection is about getting your face out there. And this is kind of like a quick thing anyone can do is if you look at your Instagram, do you have your name in your profile? Do you have like if I look through your feed, the first 9 photos, can we see you at all?
Is it just the logo or some people have like that up there? I don't think people buy from brands anymore, right?
I know. And so I say, you probably want to think about whether the logo is like the profile picture is your logo or whether it's a photo of you. And I've seen actually quite a big local photographer. I've seen he's just changed his business name to his name, which I thought was very interesting and a smart idea probably. But to bring yourself into your marketing, because like people can compete with you if they're competing on kind of like offering the exact same services, exact same packages, exact same prices. But what they can't, I guess, compete with is just being you. And so you're the only one that can be that, and people are going to be so drawn to you and feel so connected and loyal to you and invested in you if you're showing up and maybe doing some videos, sharing some photos, telling a bit of your story. So that's connection. And then credibility, again, like I'm sure every creative has this, just actually do a little bit of bragging about yourself. Tell us why you're so great, or show us some of your work or some awards that you've had, because I think that's probably something creatives can struggle with too. Is actually like they're amazing, but either they don't recognize it or they just feel like, who am I to even kind of talk about that?
Or we do that thing where we get 9 compliments, 1 criticism, and go, that criticism is what sticks in your brain and kind of drags you down.
It's the worst. So a bit of credibility. And also like you can put in your Instagram bio and profile where you've been featured or awards you've won, so that when someone looks, it's like, okay, wow, they know their stuff. And bring that through the content. And then the 4th...
Does social proof fall into that?
Social proof.
As well?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, social proof. So testimonials, case studies, social proof, that type of thing. And also on that, it's better if you can share some sort of transformation in some way. So rather than just like, Clayton was great, we loved working with him. It's like, that's good, it's not really that compelling. But if it was like, we were really struggling with our video content and we tried like 5 different companies or whatever it might be, or we really struggled with putting it together ourselves. But since we worked with Clayton and his company, this is what we've managed to achieve. And so that other people can see themselves in that story.
Love it.
Is better. And then there is the promotion, which again, I think creatives can struggle with.
Totally struggle with.
So everyone's got kind of like a different sales process. For me, it's about, for my program, my online program, I've got like a sales funnel there. So if someone joins one of my freebies, then they'll go into my sales funnel. But for creatives, if they don't have that, and if it is more the services, then it might just be saying, hey, like I've got 4 spots left this month. Like go to my website, book in a call, whatever it might be. But you've got to tell people what it is you offer.
There needs to be a call to action, right?
Exactly, call to action. Every post, call to action. It's either going to be for engagement, so hey, let me know what you think. Did you did you agree with this? Whatever it is, like a call to action for engagement, and then a call to action for basically taking to the next step of working with you. And I was also going to say, with when you share some posts around promotion, what works really, really well is having a sense of urgency or scarcity.
Okay.
So, and creatives can do that too.
Absolutely.
Like wedding photographers, it's like, hey, I've got like 2 shoots left this year. It's like, crap, I've got to get in. Because it makes you seem as well, like it's perception, and shows that you are the expert and you've got the credibility.
Absolutely.
And it's that sense of, we're not just going to sit around thinking about it and kind of forget about it, but it's like, I want to book and I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
So if you can bring in some urgency and scarcity into when you share those promotional messages, it works really well.
Yeah, I think that works super well too if you've done the first 3 really well, because no one's going to hit that urgency if you haven't formed connection or given value, right?
Totally. And that's why like some people, I think, don't do any of the promotion and they only do like the value.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that you can't just do the promotion, because people don't care about you
Yeah.
unless you're sharing the other stuff.
Exactly.
So it all works in together.
Emily, I don't want to say this, but I think that's so much information for people to do. I loved hearing about your why, and thank you so much for sharing all that personal stuff. I think it'll be a big help for everybody to even question their own why, to get deep into where they are now and what they want to explore further, and then being really self-aware of who they are and what they want to be. And those tips are killer. You know, they're way better than 5 social media tips you find scrolling through your feed.
I think they're ones that like actually help people and that everyone can apply, and they're timeless as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Clayton. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We're trying to evolve a community here to share ideas and experiences to help each other learn, grow, and support each other as one. To help this movement, you can do 2 things right now. Send this to someone who you think needs to hear it, write us a review, and share it across your socials. And secondly, most importantly, go out there right now and be the best version of yourself that you can be. Be the change you want to see in the industry. You have the power to succeed and lift people up with your art, your words, and your soul. It will take hard work, but be that warrior badass that the world needs more of. Go out there and chase your true potential.